everyone, this is Jackie Williams. Thanks for joining me today. In this video, I want to showcase the Mediterranean Bloom Suite, and this contains the Citrus Blooms stamp set. The name suggests some citrus plants and flowers and some words, and then it's a nice set of dies that fit around the images, of course, and then some beautiful frame dies. And I'm going to show you how those work in just a moment. The suite also includes these papers, which are a little bit unusual in my opinion. So one side is all citrus fruits and these small yellow flowers, and then the other side is blue and white, or varying colors of blue and white. So not the same color scheme at all, but it does have a very Mediterranean feel. And then we have the opal rounds that match with the clear yellow and the dark blue. Now I just wanted to showcase these dies here, in particular these two dies, how those work. So if you cut with just this frame die, you'll have something like this with a little bit of a stitching edge on the side. And even this piece is usable if you want to use that as a frame in scrapbooking or otherwise. And then if you use this die here, it cuts this sort of shape, but it doesn't cut around the edges. So you have a kind of a frame die, and then these edges can be as wide as you want. Just depends how wide you cut your paper. But you can also use them at the same time, or do one and then the other as you prefer. And then you'll get something that looks like this, which is also quite beautiful. You'll also have a fairly large scrap here in the middle. So while you're running that through, you can include this die there in the middle, or some of these flowers or other singular leaves, just to make use of that piece that comes out the middle. All right, let's get started with our project. And I'm going to start with a standard sized card base. You just use your bone folder to get that nice and flat. And then I have used that frame die just by itself and have cut another piece of white, and I have embossed that with the antique tile embossing folder. We're going to add that right to the middle of the card. And then I have cut a piece of soft sea foam that is just slightly smaller than the size of the card front, and then cut that detailed greenery die out of the middle of that piece. Now before we put that on our card, I want to just add a little bit of ink. And so I'm using soft seafoam ink on soft seafoam cardstock. And just going to add that to the edges of the leaves. It's a fairly subtle effect. Soft seafoam is a very light color. And then we're going to place that over top. But I do want that up on dimensionals. Now I have used a piece of the country wood paper, and I have white heat embossed the words from the Citrus Bloom stamp set onto that dark wood paper. And this is about 2 1/4 inches and then about 2 inches wide. I'll just flag the end. So cutting up the middle, and then I cut from one corner to the top of the cut, and then from the other corner to the top of the cut, and get something that looks like this. I'm just going to use my bone folder to just give that a little bit of shape. Now I'm going to decide where I want that to go. I'll put a little bit of glue on there to start. So before I put this on, I'm just going to slide this up underneath, just kind of figure where I want it to go, about there. Now I'll use my foam adhesive strips around the edges of this die cut piece all the way around so it sits as stable as possible. And then we'll put that over top. There, like this. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is add some flowers, using just some of those little flowers that are in the set. So on this particular sample, I'm not using the lemons or the oranges. I have lots of samples to share with you using those, so I wanted to do something just a little bit different for this video. Now on this scrap paper, I'm just going to blend on some Pool Party. And you can make this as messy as you want. And then I'm going to add some Summer Splash. They are quite different blues when you see them together like that. I'm not worried about getting this on really evenly. In fact, I think it's better if it's not. So you have some light areas and some dark areas. Then I'm going to take my Stampin' Spritzer, just has water in it, and just spritz that a little, just to put some water on that. And then I'll let that dry, and you'll see that speckled effect. Then once this is dry, I'm going to cut out with the large and the small flowers. And then I might cut just a few of those really tiny ones there. Just want to cut out as many as I'd like to have on my card front. Okay, so I've cut enough here for 4 double flowers and 1 single flower, and then a few extra of these little tiny ones. So now I just want to layer them together, and I'm going to choose the lighter small flower to go with the darker big flower, or vice versa, so that you can see some contrast. And then that will be my single one. Now you could leave them flat. I'm going to just crinkle them up a little bit just to give them texture, or you could just use your bone folder to just shape them a little. Okay, there's our flowers all ready. Now I just want to add some centers onto them. And I'm just going to see which color I think might look best. I think I'm going to go with the yellow. There we go. Now we just need to add our flowers to the project. For this flower here, right on the greenery, I'm just going to slip a dimensional underneath there so that it doesn't sink down with the glue. And then this single flower, let's tuck that underneath the leaves just to emphasize that there's some dimension going on in this project. And then we'll put one up here. And then underneath this one, I'd like to add a little bit of ribbon. So I have some linen thread, but I wanted to add a little bit of color. So I have the Summer Splash ribbon, and you could use it as is, but I wanted just a little bit of color. So one of the fun things about this ribbon is that it does come apart, and if one end doesn't really work, try the other end. So I'm just going to pull out some threads, and I'll add a little glue dot here. Glue dots are a great tool for working with ribbon and thread. I just have a few strands here, so this is, you know, one way your ribbon can go the distance really, because you're only using a very small amount. And I'm just looping that together and just putting it over the glue dot. And then I'll put that over the glue dot. And it is gonna hang over onto the other flower a little bit. This flower I'll put on a dimensional but kind of off to the side, and then I'm going to position it so the knot of the linen thread is where the dimensional isn't, if that makes sense, so that you don't have a dimensional on top of the knot. Okay, then let's just quickly do the inside of the card. I just cut an extra little leaf. You can just place that on the inside, and then this is where I'll use these cute little flowers. They kind of look like starfish, really. And there we go. This is a really nice way to use the Mediterranean Bloom Suite even when you're not using them with the lemons and the oranges. There's lots of other pretty things in here that you can use for many other types of styles. And then this is one that I made earlier, and for this one I've used the Petunia Pop and Berry Burst together to make the flowers, and then this one again was Pool Party and Summer Splash. Okay, so I've got a few other samples to share with you, and these ones use more of the colors from the suite and the images there. So this one here's a bit of a fun fold card. Actually, it kind of opens more like this, and then also opens like this. And I made a lemon version as well. And you can get the tutorial for this card in the All-Star Mediterranean Blooms video class. And the link is in the description of this video. And there are 12 projects in there, that being one of them. And then this is one that I shared earlier. And I've paired the Mediterranean Blooms papers here with the Crafting With You images to create this fun and cute little locking box, and then a little gift card to go with it. And then this one is a quick to-do card, just showcasing those papers, a nice way to use your scraps. And I've just taken the lemons here right from the papers, so it was really actually quite quick and easy to do. And then this sample deviates from the sweet colors just a little bit. I've used the stamps here and the Stampin' Blends markers to create a couple of different card fronts. Great for sending someone a little hello in the mail. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope that inspires you to use the Mediterranean Blooms suite. If you'd like to order this suite, the link to my shop is in the video description. And if you have a friend who would enjoy this video, please feel free to share with them. And of course, please subscribe and leave me a comment. This is Jackie Williams. Thanks so much for joining me, everyone. I'll see you next video. Bye-bye.